Just what does it mean to come back here and be able to play Earth's assassin opponent tonight?
Yeah, AZ was good to me, but I'm way happier where I'm at now. It was good to see people. It was fun to play in front of some fans. But for me, I'm way happier in Indiana.
The Indiana Fever's road trip ended with a 95-60 beatdown, 2 fresh injuries, and DeWanna Bonner trash talking. But Sophie Cunningham stole the spotlight on the court and in her podcast, dropping truth bombs about how Bonner really quit. You'll never hear professional courtesy the same way again.
That had to have been one of, if not the most embarrassing loss of the season for the Indiana Fever so far. We lost to the Atlanta Dream earlier in the season, 77-58. We lost to the Valkyrie earlier in the season, 80-61. And tonight, against the Phoenix Mercury, we lose 95-60.
You knew it was bad when the Fever couldn't hit water falling out of a boat, bricks, stolen passes, and Phoenix running away before halftime popcorn was gone. Indiana shot 34.3%, clanked 23 of 33s, and gift-wrapped 42 turnover points for Phoenix. That's not basketball. That's charity work.
Does this team practice? What I saw tonight looked like what I saw a month ago. Looked what I saw 3 weeks ago. Absolutely no offensive game plan. I thought this motion offense is when it's nobody's night in and night out. Everybody's allowed to have a night. If Kelsey Mitchell doesn't play well, it needs miraculous efforts from the rest of the team to pick this up. Sophie Cunningham played great tonight. Kelsey Mitchell had a bad game. Bad game. Where's everybody else?
The gut punch? Sydney Colson crumpling with a knee injury. Then Ari McDonald hobbling on a bad foot. In one night, the Fever's thin roster turned into tissue paper. 2 key players down in a blowout. It's getting kicked while you're face first in the mud.
Steph obviously Sid had that injury and Ari left, I think, in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
What's the status of
Well, it's Sid's left knee, Ari's right foot, and we'll get some more evaluation when we get home tomorrow and see where we are.
Phoenix owned this game, out-rebounding Indiana 44-32 and making them look lost from tip-off to buzzer. Every possession was Mercury playing chess while the Fever fumbled with checkers. Their defense caused chaos. Indiana never escaped.
Sophie Cunningham making her return to Phoenix, and it seems as if nobody on our team other than Sophie Cunningham felt any type of emotional connection to this game. DeWanna Bonner just got done doing your team absolutely dirty. You guys escape with a victory when they come to Indiana, and you wipe your hands of it like it's all over and finished with. No, it goes both ways. You don't think we want to beat her on her home court? You don't think we want to get a W for Sophie Cunningham, making her return to the team that she spent her whole entire career with up until this point?
Sophie Cunningham was the lone Fever warrior, scoring 18 on sharp shooting while her teammates searched for a pulse. She fought to keep the blowout from getting uglier, but one player can't beat an entire squad.
Softly, tough shot. Wasn't square, and here comes Indiana. Cunningham, another 3. Oh my goodness, Sophie Cunningham!
This game meant just as much to Sophie Cunningham as it did to the Indiana Fever when DeWanna Bonner made her return. The only difference is nobody on the Indiana Fever had Sophie Cunningham's back this time around. Sophie Cunningham was the only player trying hard. The only player giving effort, play in and play out. The only player getting into it with Alyssa Thomas, getting into it with DeWanna Bonner, getting into it with Kalia Copper, while everybody else just mailed it in. This game was embarrassing, folks.
The arena was a funeral for Fever fans. Frustration in the stands, while Phoenix celebrated like it was Game 7. This wasn't bad luck. It was a full system meltdown exposing Indiana's paper-thin depth. Then came the post-game fireworks. DeWanna Bonner, fresh off 23 points, roasted her former team, and bragged like she'd just scaled Everest.
Do you see that? DeWanna Bonner hit her first 3-point shot in about 6 months and runs down the floor after losing her starting spot to Lexi Hull. Runs down the floor and calls Lexi Hull a bomb to her face. DeWanna Bonner is out here calling Lexi Hull a bomb to her face.
Here's the real story. Bonner spent 40 minutes picking fights with Lexi Hull, mean mugging after buckets, and getting chippy with Sophie Cunningham. This wasn't just basketball, it was a one-woman humiliation tour.
You know, it was, yeah, I don't know, emotions are kind of high. Honestly, it's just been a journey to get back to just being happy playing basketball again. I'm just, the joy, trying to find that for a minute. Basketball was kind of like off the radar for me a little bit. I didn't know if I loved it anymore, like had a long conversation with Alyssa. So just to feel that again, feel that energy, feel this from that building was just amazing. And I feel like it was a game that I needed to, remind me like I love this.
Coach Nate Tibbetts gushed about Bonner's fire, making it sound like she'd been storing up energy just to torch Indiana. Phoenix played like it was personal, not professional, and Bonner was the ringleader, pairing every bucket with a stare down and every stop with trash talk aimed at the Fever bench.
Look at Bonner. And Cunningham's kind of got that innocent who me grin going, and nobody's buying it.
Wow, what a steal by Bonner, stepping right into it. And Sophie knows that doesn't want to create anything more. A little holding on. You think this is becoming a rivalry?
Oh, they're letting her have it now. They gave Cunningham a big ovation.
After the buzzer, Phoenix partied and took verbal jabs while Indiana huddled up, checked on the injured, and talked about bouncing back.
For sure. I mean, it sucks, right? You don't ever want to see anyone be injured on any team. I feel like there's been a lot of injuries this year in the W, harsh ones, I think. And it's just another one. And Sid is still the heartbeat of our team. She's going to be okay. Our team's going to be okay. And again, it's just another hurdle that we're going to have to get over.
Bonner's night felt less like basketball brilliance and more like a grudge parade, complete with over-the-top celebrations while the Fever worried about Colson's knee. In the locker rooms, Indiana spoke of unity. Phoenix danced on the win. Her 23 points only underscored why she never fit the Fever's team first vibe. And Sophie Cunningham was about to drop truth bombs to prove it.
Did you see that when DB came back and played for us, that they got mad that our fan base was booing her?
I don't believe in booing former players unless they left on like some type shit.
On her podcast, Sophie Cunningham finally spilled the truth about how Bonner quit the Fever, and it's uglier than anyone thought. She admitted Bonner's a Hall of Fame talent, but revealed the bombshell that rewrites her entire exit story.
I like DB because DB was one of my vets when I was in Phoenix, and then we gathered here into Indiana, and it was kind of a surprise that she was signed to Indiana anyway. And so we'll take her in a heartbeat. She's a Hall of Famer. She's a hell of a basketball player, can score from anywhere on the court.
Sophie revealed Bonner left mid-season without so much as a text to her teammates. Months of practicing, traveling, and bonding. Then poof, gone without a goodbye.
But she got to Indiana and she just really wasn't happy. And I want people to be happy. So that's why I'm kind of neutral on this one, which a lot of people are surprised about. She's towards the end of her career. So she deserves her flowers. She deserves to be happy. But I also think that if you're going to leave, you're going to have to expect getting booed.
Was there explanation when it happened? No. Not even privately? Yeah, I mean, okay. That's tough. And, yeah, okay. Well, I did say what? Unless you leave on some you type shit, and that's what that is, so.
Yeah.
Sophie stressed this wasn't about X's and O's. It was about basic respect. A simple goodbye text could have avoided all the awkwardness, but instead, the team got radio silence from a supposed veteran leader who vanished without honoring the bonds she'd built.
Like, I'm still rooting for her. Like, I want her to end her career and be happy. But I also think that, like, it's okay to be professional about it and, like, send a text to your teammates. Send a text and be like, hey, like, love you guys. Or you don't even have to say love you guys. Just like, hey, sorry this didn't work out. Good luck. Da-da-da-da. You know what I mean? Like, there's a way to handle that, I think.
Sophie's words on accountability hit hard. She's been carrying the team's emotional load while Bonner made excuses elsewhere. You could hear her frustration as she defined professional courtesy, not out of pettiness, but plain respect between teammates.
I doubt DeWanna Bonner had any idea that how dirty she did her teammates on her way out of Indiana would ever come out to light. But Sophie Cunningham said, hold my beer. I got a podcast. I got this platform. I'm going to speak my mind. I'm not going to toe the company line. I'm not going to protect narratives. I'm not going to follow agendas. I'm going to tell you how it all went down. And DeWanna Bonner disappeared like a ghost.
Sophie's revelation shattered Bonner's redemption facade, exposing it as nothing more than a petty revenge game against teammates she couldn't even text goodbye. It drew a bold line between those who battle through adversity and those who vanish when it gets hard. While Bonner basked in her hollow victory, Sophie, Lexi Hull, and the Fever's core embodied loyalty in its purest form. Sophie's 18-point stand in a blowout wasn't stat padding, it was proof of the relentless heart that forges champions. She could have quit. Instead, she fought to the final buzzer.
Sophie Cunningham is going viral right now for a TikTok video she made.
Sophie Cunningham gets fined $500 by Kathy Engelbrain
for making this slick TikTok.
$500 is absolutely hilarious.
Once again, the WNBA has crossed the line.
Sophie Cunningham actually posted this herself, stating, I got fined $500.
Sophie Cunningham didn't get fined for a foul or a heated reaction. She got hit with a $500 penalty for saying what fans have been yelling all year. WNBA officiating is a joke, and she had the guts to call it out.
Fans, they're responding to this video because she's calling out WNBA officiating, WNBA refs.
Cunningham posted the video 6 days ago, which shows her lip-syncing lyrics from Sabrina Carpenter's song Man-Child. The caption to the video is, at some refs.
Stupid. Or is it slow? Maybe it's useless.
Yesterday, Cunningham reposted the video on X with a caption about the fine.
Worse yet, she wasn't just speaking for herself. She was standing up for Caitlin Clark, the league's biggest target.
Cunningham criticized some refs by describing them as stupid, slow, and useless. Damn!
Sophie Cunningham took an elbow to the face, and the ref did nothing. No call, no whistle, no reaction. Just silence, as if headshots are now part of the game. The message? Take the hit. No one's stopping it. And rather than address the issue, the league fined Sophie for posting the video. She spoke out, and the WNBA made her pay for it.
You guys don't remember what happened in this game. In the Sun game, right before this, she got chucked out of bounds and the referee just stared and watched. And then she got elbowed in the face 2 possessions later and the referees just watched.
Sophie got hit in the back of the head with the elbow, right? Ref looking right at it, didn't do a thing, didn't say a thing, was shaking her head like, nah, you flopped. That is crazy work.
This wasn't just about a TikTok. It was a warning. A clear message to silence anyone daring to speak up, especially for Caitlin Clark, who's taken hits and cheap shots all season while refs look the other way.
At some refs. Stupid, slow, useless. Oh my goodness, man.
Following play, Sophie Cunningham breathes on a player, gets called for a foul. Referees were definitely not doing Sophie any favors that game and purposely ignoring, dare I say, flagrant fouls. Elbowing somebody in their shoulder, elbowing somebody in their neck, face area. Yeah, that's a flagrant foul. There's no other way to slice it.
Sophie's message hit hard because it was true. And it echoed what Indiana Fever players have felt all season: rough play, targeted fouls, and zero protection. The fine wasn't just punishment, it was a warning. Stay quiet or you're next.
I got fined $500 for this TikTok. I don't know why this is funny to me. Like, okay, you got it, bud, because there's not more important things to be worried about with our league right now.
Give Sophie credit. This wasn't just a rant. It was leadership. Honest, raw, and real. The league punished her, but fans backed her instantly.
Caitlin Clark, and you can tell she's talking about being mentally beat down. We also know she's physically beat down. Why does this keep happening? And look, it's not just the Fever. It's not just Caitlin. There's a bunch of players across the leagues that's been speaking out against this.
Support flooded in. Players, reporters, fans, even WNBA legends. Everyone saw it for what it was. Sophie wasn't just fined, she became a symbol of the league's deeper problems.
Am I shocked that an activist basketball league decided to target Sophie Cunningham? No, I'm not surprised by that. I mean, this whole league's got all of its priorities all bleeped up, especially from social media, this and that and the other, but that's not the point. She should not be getting fined for this.
Her fine was just another chapter in the league's playbook. Punish those who speak out, especially if they defend Caitlin Clark. Meanwhile, the ones taking shots at her? Protected, untouchable.
It doesn't seem that Cunningham will receive another fine from the WNBA for her posts and her continued criticism of the league.
Stacey Dales, who covers the NFL, has been on NFL Network forever. She's laughing her ass off about this.
Let's be real. Caitlin Clark's taken more cheap shots than anyone in years. Elbows, slams, trips, shoves, and she still gets the fewest calls. Fans now hold their breath on every layup, not to see if she scores, but if she survives it.
Sophie gets fined for TikTok, but players can bulldoze Caitlin almost every game with no response from the league.
It's not just unfair, it's dangerous. And the silence from the league is infuriating.
And Caitlin, she's been through the same BS. We see the pattern, and the league better start seeing it too.
Take this. Sophie gets elbowed, no call. She says a few words to the ref, who replies, "I'll remember that." Minutes later, she's hit with a phantom foul. That's not officiating, that's payback.
There's obviously, I did a video last night about Caitlin Clark, and you can tell she's talking about being mentally beat down. We also know she's physically beat down.
Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark gets mocked online after an eye injury, even by a teammate. Opponents laugh about it on Instagram. And the league? Silent. No fines, no action, nothing.
When Caitlin Clark returns, she's not getting abused and the referees are keeping their mouth shut. It's going to take somebody on the team to consistently speak out because we know damn sure the coach is too scared to get fined. Oh, you guys going to fine me again? This is the game that after pushing and shoving for a jump ball, she says 2 words to the referee. The referee says, "Oh, I'll remember that." Following play, Sophie Cunningham breathes on a player, gets called for a foul. Referees were definitely not doing Sophie any favors that game.
This is the double standard fans are fed up with.
When last year, after Caitlin Clark got poked in the eye, Dirty Dejanay Carrington and Alyssa Smith got on IG and made us mocking Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark is the WNBA's biggest draw, breaking viewership records, selling tickets, driving revenue. She's the league's engine, yet they won't protect her. Worse, they punish those who try. That's why Sophie's fine matters. She didn't just challenge a bad call, she exposed a broken system. The league isn't protecting stars, it's protecting its story.
Caitlin Clark has changed the game. She changed it in college and in the WNBA.
The country has fallen in love with what we have created. And America, here's the girl next door, all grown up, Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark has captivated the nation, breaking scoring records in college and bringing women's basketball to a whole new audience.
She is a phenomenon.
Sophie didn't start drama. She posted a video after taking an elbow. That alone got her fined. Meanwhile, players rough up Caitlin Clark without consequence. Fans see it. Even casual viewers spot the double standard. Sophie gets punished for a TikTok, but others can flatten Caitlin and joke about it online. This isn't inconsistency. It's a warning. Stay quiet.
As long as Kathy Engelbert is going to play one of the 3 blind mice, they're going to keep doing it. As long as Adam Silver just ignores this crap.
So what happens? Players go silent. Coaches look the other way. No one wants to be the next target for speaking out.
And all right, that is crazy work. They have to do better by these players. You have to protect these players, man. Protect your talent. It's as simple as that.
But Sophie spoke up. She took the hit on the court and off it to stand up for a teammate. That's rare in today's WNBA. This isn't about $500. It's about a culture where speaking out gets punished and doing the damage doesn't.
Sophie Cunningham is not the type who keeps her feelings to herself. The Indiana Fever star is quite outspoken, and she has no issue expressing her beliefs publicly, even if it gets her in trouble.
Fans have had it. The moment Sophie shared her fine, outrage lit up online. Loud, focused, and relentless. The league's socials got flooded. Some fans even offered to cover the fine themselves. That's how fed up people are.
Instead, let's fine the players because they're speaking out loud. It would be different. If the officiating was at least solid, I'd be like, yeah, you can't run your mouth about the referees. The officiating in this league blows chunks.
One viral comment nailed it. Sophie gets fined for a TikTok, but Caitlyn gets hit, mocked, and ignored. That message spread fast. Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Kathy Engelbert? Silent. No statement, no defense, just silence. And it's becoming her trademark.
How did we get to an all-star game in Indiana where Caitlin Clark is not healthy enough to play? Well, it all started last year, in her rookie season, where she received 20% of all the flagrant fouls in the league. And most of them came from Angel Reese in the Chicago Sky. And these weren't basketball plays. They were not only fouling her, but they were getting up, laughing about it, laughing about Caitlin Clark getting assaulted. Any other work environment, people go to jail for what's going on.
This was Engelbert's chance to lead, to back the players elevating the league and putting their bodies on the line. Instead, she chose punishment over conversation, control over courage. Now, fans aren't just angry, they're disillusioned.
And last year, I noticed how much it was just Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark was taking all the hits. Caitlin Clark was taking all the abuse. But this year they've added Sophie Cunningham. She gets more flagrant fouls on her than anybody in the league besides Caitlin Clark. And Aaliyah Boston, she's been taking hits as well. But the worst thing is the consistency. So they don't call flagrant fouls, or most of the time, Caitlin Clark could be held for an entire game at a time. They don't call fouls. They don't call common fouls. But then when it's the Indiana Fever, guess what? Touch foul here, touch foul here. They call absolutely nothing.
Let's not forget, Caitlin Clark is the reason the WNBA is even part of the national conversation. She's breaking records, making headlines, and drawing eyes to every game, hers or not. So when she gets hammered with no call, and those who defend her get punished, the message is loud and chilling. The league doesn't care about its biggest star.
A bunch of players and coaches of the last few days have complained without being fine-worthy about officiating. I just want to see about your thoughts on if officiating is an issue and how it can be improved, because clearly there seems to be problems or disconnect between what players and coaches feel and what officials are actually calling.
This was the WNBA's moment to prove it values fairness over optics, players over PR. Instead, it chose silence, and now it's paying the price.
She has gone viral, all right? She's gone viral over hot girls eat Arby's. Yeah, she was wearing this outfit, this arrangement into the Chicago Sky game. Of course, the Indiana Fever, I would like to say beat the brakes off the Sky, but really it felt like they underachieved a good bit.
Sophie Cunningham threw on an Arby's tee and accidentally nuked the WNBA news cycle. One slogan, one shirt, 800,000 sales. Bam. Curly fries are now beating courtside seats. Meanwhile, Angel Reese is somewhere silently fuming, wondering why her jersey isn't flying off shelves. What started as a joke just exposed the WNBA's real issue. One woman's raw, goofy charm dunked on the league's entire branding playbook. Sophie didn't wear the moment, She was the moment.
Sophie Cunningham's t-shirt became a marketing phenomenon. Sophie Cunningham currently plays for the Indiana Fever and has now become one of the most recognizable WNBA players. In her Barbie night, she pulled up wearing a shirt that said "Hot Girls Eat Arby's," and the internet lost it. But here's the real backstory. A few months earlier, Sophie posted a video rating Arby's. And that video was just her being authentic in herself. And that puppy went viral.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and give Arby's a solid 9 out of 10.
And following this, the phrase "Hot Girls Eat Arby's" started flying around. And it turns out that Arby's has been saying this since 2023.
The WNBA traded hoops for heat. Stats out, side eyes in. Drama's the new game, and Sophie Cunningham just lit it up. No dunk, just an Arby's tee, no filter, and all fries. Forget PR spins. She deep fried the script and served it hotter than any buzzer beater.
We know somebody that has gotten ridiculously popular this year with the Indiana Fever. I made a prediction that she was going to be the second most popular player on this team by the end of the year. And then, of course, there was the big incident during the Connecticut Sun game. And by the end of that game, she was known as Caitlin Clark's enforcer, right? The one that's got her back. At times, it feels like the only one that's got her back, if I'm being quite honest.
She's not running plays. She's dropping truth bombs. No filters, no sparkle, just Sophie, curly fries, and chaos. While Angel Reese chases clout, Sophie's selling 800,000 shirts and torching the league's branding playbook. No gimmicks, just realness, and it's unstoppable.
Let's talk about Arby's. She is now on the Arby's payroll. Decided that it was a match made in roast beef heaven. Hot girls eat Arby's. No knock on Arby's, Sophie, but if you give Arby's 9 out of 10, I'll take you to Racks. I'll buy you some Racks, and I think you will find that hot girls probably eat Racks. Arby's has a new spokeswoman, and it just so happens to be Sophie Cunningham. Yeah, that's right. Sophie Cunningham, who took to her social media to discuss how much she enjoyed a trip that she made to Arby's.
Sophie Cunningham blew into the W like a gust of truth. Enough to shake the gloss right off. No staged hugs, no TikTok dances, no curated clicks. She's off-brand, off-script, and exactly what fans were secretly waiting for.
Sophie Cunningham has broken the internet in multiple ways over the last day. All right, the other day, before the Chicago Sky game, this Barbie, and let's be real, let's be honest. If you were going to cast somebody as Barbie, there's a good chance you'd take a long, hard look at Sophie Cunningham.
That's why people can't look away. In a league neck deep in performance art, Sophie just shows up. No wigs, no filter factory, no branding meetings, just hoops, honesty, and one strangely iconic Arby's shirt. Turns out, fans might actually want athletes who act like athletes. Shocking, right? What a concept.
Let's get it! Burn! Lack of awareness combined with a lack of ability to jump. Not great! Burn!
Me bow, me bow, me bow, me bow, me bow, me bow, me bow.
Yeah! Again! Do it for me. Me bow! Burn!
Caitlin Clark shook the W without playing nice. Aaliyah Boston crushes hype with facts. They don't chase clout, they are clout. And that's scary. Fans want real, but the league keeps choosing trends over toughness, slogans over skills. That gap? It's costing way more than clicks.
700,000 followers overnight. I don't know if you guys knew, she had like 300 or something less than 48 hours ago. Insane. The enforcer has arrived. And she even posted like twice since then, bro. She's totally taken it to a whole new level. Like, Caitlin Clark has a new star. This is like a new star in the WNBA. People ain't going to like it. People aren't going to like it. Trace Leches, you know what I'm saying? Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and Lexi Hull. Which, by the way, kind of was obsessed with her before she even came along.
The W's starting to look less like a league and more like a beauty pageant in sneakers. Points? Nah, it's all about selfies, subtweets, and whose nails sparkle courtside. And in the chaos, the real hoopers, the grinders, the pros, the ones who let the game talk, are getting completely drowned out.
So Caitlin Clark's teammate Sophie Cunningham's jersey has officially sold out on the Fever website. And this comes the same week as the chippy foul that led to some ejections at the end of the game. It was a bit of a revenge foul taken up for Caitlin Clark after a hard foul on the other end. And then immediately a petition online from the Caitlin Clark haters to have Sophie Cunningham removed from the WNBA. They're trying to get folks to sign it. They said what she displayed tonight was disgusting. Yeah, it was a hard foul, but now it has the Caitlin Clark fans rallying around her, buying up her jerseys to the point they've officially sold out. Fortunately for this petition, I think they just turned Sophie Cunningham into a new WNBA A-list superstar.
That's why Sophie's moment hit like a buzzer beater. It was real versus rehearsed. No character, no glam squad, just a tee, a smirk, and a whole vibe. And suddenly, you could hear the panic from players whose whole brand is attitude without stats. Sophie proved fans chase real faster than polished PR, and the visibility matters crowd awfully quiet when the spotlight didn't stick to their script.
And one thing I like about Sophie is that she's tough. So when Caitlin Clark last week, or not last week, a couple days ago, when Caitlin Clark got destroyed, her girl Sophie came to her defense, and this was the most beast mode thing that I've seen a woman do in WNBA history. Now, Sophie, who's my one of my favorites now, she's become one of my favorite WNBA players. I'm gonna watch her too, like I watch Caitlin. Look at what she did, and people may not say that this was in response or whatever the case may be, but I feel like Sophie is like, you want to play?
Sophie Cunningham is chaos with a jump shot and no off switch, but it's bigger than her. Fans aren't craving influencers in sneakers; they want the gritty, real ones. Sophie rose on hustle, honesty, and a splash of weird, not PR spin. And that's a problem for anyone who bet on fake.
To the arena yesterday, wearing that. There she is right there. Let's just bring this up. Over at Tater Report. There she is right there. Hot girls eat Arby's. I can only imagine, and I have no idea. I would assume this is some kind of sponsorship with Arby's, right? Right there. I don't know. The roast beef sandwich jokes just sort of write themselves at this point. And just like that, I want a cheddar melt.
A $12 Arby's tea. That's all it took. No campaign, no collab, just Sophie, a smile, and fan love that PR budgets can't buy. The game didn't change in a boardroom. It changed because real beats rehearsed. Sophie's selling 100,000 more while Angel Reese watches her merch collect dust.
New strategy, team. Angel, keep doing your part. Everyone else, go rebound her misses. If she keeps missing layups at this rate, she's going to be serving buttermilk pancakes at Denny's. Butter? Did somebody say butter? Butter pecan! Burn! At a certain point, you just got to applaud greatness. A rebound on her back? Are you kidding? Bang! Simon says, give me another pray-up. How about it? Bang! She really hit under the basket on a layup. Get this girl GPS. Bang! Everybody get up on your feet. It's time to meet and greet the most underpaid athlete. Bang!
Let's be real, this wasn't luck. Sophie didn't just randomly go viral in an Arby's tea. This was strategy in disguise. While half the league was busy TikToking and subtweeting, Sophie was out here playing 40 chess with curly fries and charm. No stunts, no faux vulnerability, just a slow burn that blew up. Now the playbook's flipped, and some players are scrambling because the old tricks just aren't cutting it anymore.
The Indiana Fever are in a disastrous situation right now. They're in an absolutely disastrous situation.
Just moments ago, Sophie Cunningham finally spoke out, and what she revealed about the Indiana Fever locker room should send shockwaves through every Caitlin Clark fan out there.
Sophie Cunningham goes in the post-game press conference and confirms what we've all known all along.
We've kind of wavered a little bit on that. We have our own islands.
This locker room is split, and she uses the term different islands going on in this locker room.
Sophie literally says, there's a little thing going on in the locker room.
That's not good. That's not good to hear.
We're talking broken trust, no backup for their star, and a team unraveling from within. Caitlyn's fights clearly go far beyond the court. She's out there waging war completely on her own.
There's one really concerning thing that Sophie Cunningham said.
I think that we've kind of wavered a little bit on that. We have our own island.
It's been a disaster. The good teams can keep the locker room together.
If you're still backing Caitlin Clark and believe she deserves way better than this disaster, drop a comment below. Stand up for Caitlin Clark, because after Sophie's brutally honest words, it's clear this team's falling apart, and no one's lifting a finger to protect their once-in-a-generation star.
Caitlin Clark is the star player of the WNBA.
The most popular woman ever in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark is the needle. Caitlin is box office.
Caitlin Clark as the star. Everything else is wrapped around her, and everything else is revolving around her.
She's Rookie of the Year in the WNBA.
For weeks, fans felt something was wrong with this Fever squad, and now Sophie has torn the bandage clean off. She confirmed what everyone had been whispering. The locker room is fractured, unraveling just when Caitlin needs unity more than ever. In her post-game press conference, Sophie didn't hold back.
Sophie Cunningham, in the post-game interview, speaks on this team and the islands.
We have our own island. That line hit like a live grenade.
I think that we've kind of wavered a little bit on that. We have our own island.
This wasn't just about missed plays or botched assignments. It was a locker room filled with disconnection, zero unity, and a blinding absence of leadership.
Everybody's on their own little island.
For a team built around a once-in-a-generation talent like Caitlin Clark, that's a blaring neon red warning sign for every fan who's watching closely.
Take care of our locker room.
Whew! You did a job at that.
Sophie admitted the squad is unstable and failing to support each other when it counts. Translation: Caitlin's not just eating hits from defenders, she's being left to fend for herself with no help from her own teammates when the blows keep coming.
Caitlin Clark, plasters over all the cracks. She realistically plasters over all the cracks of this team. This team is not structured well.
The very squad that's supposed to rally around her can't even hold it together. Last season, they had each other's backs. Win or lose, there was a sense of unity. But now, Sophie bluntly admits, everything's changed.
Even when they were losing games, it seemed like the locker room was in a good spot.
Now Sophie's basically waving a massive warning flag. And this isn't some clueless rookie talking. This is a battle-tested veteran. She even owned up, saying she's gotta step up and help unify the team. But let's be honest, that doesn't fix the cracks that are already splitting wide open.
Sophie Cunningham coming out there and effectively saying there's a big difference between her saying there are locker room issues and her saying the locker room maybe isn't where it needs to be.
Caitlin Clark's trapped in a locker room that offers her no protection, emotionally, mentally, or physically. And that collapse, it's bleeding out onto the court for everyone to witness.
It is not looking positive for them to be fixed. We can be honest here, it's not looking positive.
In games where Caitlin takes a beating, where's the support? No teammates stepping up to send a message. Just collapse when it counts. Sophie even pointed it out herself. They scored 35 points on us in one quarter.
They scored 35 points, I think you guys said. That just cannot happen.
That's a team with no discipline, no focus, and no trust. This isn't just about losing a few games. It's about a whole culture crumbling from within.
The Indiana Fever are in a disastrous situation right now. They're in an absolutely disastrous situation.
When your superstar's out there fighting alone, this isn't some ordinary team issue anymore. This is a full-scale meltdown.
If it's not minor, then again, I'm getting very close to just riding off the seat.
Sophie Cunningham's blunt remarks about players living on different islands didn't come out of nowhere. They're the result of months of dysfunction, puzzling roster decisions, and a front office that looks utterly lost on how to protect the one player who truly matters, Caitlin Clark. And a lot of this mess circles right back to DeWanna Bonner and Natasha Howard. Let's be clear, Bonner wasn't signed to just fill a roster spot.
Whose idea was it to bring these old dinosaurs and put them on this roster, starting with DeWanna Bonner?
She landed a max contract from the Fever in the offseason. Still one of the most baffling moves fans and analysts can recall. Sure, Bonner brought experience, but she also came with serious baggage. And despite all her veteran status, the instant result was friction, not leadership. Some insiders even suggest her sudden exit wasn't just about her brutal shooting. It was a last-ditch effort to save whatever shred of team unity remained.
One of the fractures was a DeWanna Bonner group off to the side.
One analyst didn't even hold back, asking if the Fever finally realized they had to cut Bonner just to stop the locker room from completely imploding. Her sudden release shocked the entire WNBA, but in hindsight, it's hard to ignore the signs. She may have been the wedge splitting the team apart, right as Caitlin was fighting to keep it all together. Then there's Natasha Howard, arguably an even bigger question mark and an even bigger risk. Fans and creators have slammed her for her lack of urgency, shaky effort, and head-scratching behavior off the court. In a recent game, she literally showed more concern for an opposing player than for her own teammates.
Tasha Howard decides that she'd rather rub up on Ezzy Magdeburg's leg.
Even when Caitlin Clark hit the floor after a brutal foul, Natasha stood there stone-faced. No reaction, no support, nothing at all.
Anytime Caitlin Clark's been knocked to the ground, anytime Aaliyah Boston's been punked, anytime Lexi Hull's been beat up, Sophie Cunningham's been beat up, more concern about somebody on the other team than from her own team.
Meanwhile, she's quick to check on rival players, but barely bats an eye when Caitlin gets dropped, or Aaliyah takes a hit, or Sophie gets shoved around. It's not just awkward, it's flat out embarrassing. And still, with all that, Howard keeps clocking big minutes, while players like Sophie Cunningham, who actually care, stay glued to the bench. Even worse, fans are convinced this loyalty to Howard is pure politics, all thanks to Stephanie White, the head coach who once coached Howard back in Indiana. It's not about merit, it's about connections, and that's when the real damage comes into focus. By clinging to veterans who aren't all in and sidelining players who are, the Fever blew up their own chemistry. Now, the locker room's broken into literal factions. One analyst even mapped it out. Caitlin, Lexi Hull, and Sophie on one island, Natasha, Sydney Colson, and Kelsey Mitchell camped out on another.
Final. Championship bound, baby! Woo! Big love, baby! Woo! The year, man. It got a little crazy out there, but we made it through.
We're gonna keep stacking the day, so see you in the championship.
Let's go!
June 17th wasn't just another game. It was sweet revenge. Think back to May 30th, when J.C. Sheldon and the Connecticut Sun left Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Colson hurt on the court, and those cheap shots went ignored. Well, the Indiana Fever didn't forget a thing. And when Sheldon jabbed Caitlin Clark right in the eye during the rematch, it lit a fire. What followed proves exactly why you don't come for Clark's crew. Because Sophie Cunningham was locked in and ready to unleash the most glorious flagrant foul you'll ever witness.
It was chippy the last time these two teams faced off too. Sophie Cunningham suffered her ankle injury in that game, but in addition to that, she actually had part of her front tooth knocked out. She made contact with J.C. Sheldon as Caitlin Clark knocks down the triple.
But what people don't talk about enough is how hard you have to work to be able to be that good. All the hours that she's spent perfecting her craft.
Retreating, firing, and hitting.
So she can do that.
On Indiana arguing the call.
I mean, step back, you're late. She almost looks you in the eye.
Picture this. May 30th, Indiana Fever versus Connecticut Sun. And everything unraveled for the Fever in the worst way imaginable. The game began like any other, two WNBA teams battling for position. But the Sun brought a level of physicality that pushed past fierce and into outright reckless. From the opening tip, you could feel the tension crackling through the air.
Can we talk about the physicality for a second? Two players on the Indiana Fever got injured last night by the same player on the Connecticut Sun, and that was J.C. Sheldon. And I tweeted about it. She was playing so reckless. I'm fine with players playing aggressive, but there is a thin line between playing aggressive and playing reckless. When you dive for a ball, you don't land on somebody's leg. She landed on top of Sydney Colson's leg, and her leg got stuck and literally twisted around. Both injuries, both Sydney Colson and Sophie Cunningham, were contact injuries.
Sophie Cunningham went down first after what looked like a deliberate hit. The contact was brutal, way too much for a routine basketball play. Then Sydney Colson took a shot in another shady sequence that left everyone wondering what was really going on out there. The kicker? JC Sheldon was at the center of both plays, bringing an aggressive edge that made your blood absolutely boil.
They weren't non-contact. They weren't ACLs. They weren't Achilles. They were contact injuries caused by the same player. And this kind of physicality that the WNBA they brag about. They say it's always been a physical league. That's just the heart of the It's not good basketball. And we've seen so many injuries. Paige Becker's out with a concussion. Rakia Jackson was out with a concussion. All of these injuries are contact plays. We've seen Caitlin Clark last year get chucked to the ground. We saw Angel Reese get clothesline chucked to the ground. The players continue to do it because the refs are allowing them. Why wouldn't you keep doing it if you're a physical player?
Here's where the college history heats things up. Sheldon and Clark had been clashing since their Iowa versus Ohio State battles. Back then, Sheldon made it her goal to rattle Clark every time they shared the court. She shadowed her non-stop, threw bumps on every screen, and never missed a chance to talk trash during dead balls. This wasn't just a game anymore. This was personal.
Her mortal enemy took out a player. JC Sheldon. Caitlin Clark's mortal enemy, JC Sheldon.
The refs that May Day let it all slide, like they were watching a different game than the rest of us. Hard fouls, no whistle, dangerous plays, ignored. Clark had to stand by as her teammates went down while Sheldon skated by without even a warning. With every possession, the frustration grew. The Fever battled to the end, but fell 85-83. More than just a loss, they were down 2 key players, injuries that could have been avoided if the officials had done their job. Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Colson were out, and their absence hit hard in the games that followed.
This is a reckless play. This is reckless. It is dangerous. And this angle makes it look even worse. It is dangerous. Like, Sid Colson is between her and the ball. Sid Colson is, in fact, between JC Sheldon and the ball, and she dives through her knee. It wasn't even called as a foul.
You could see it in Clark's eyes after that loss. The way she stared down Sheldon in the handshake line. The edge in her voice during the post-game interview. This wasn't finished. Not even close. The Fever would remember every detail. Who threw the hits, who got hurt, and how the refs just let it all slide. June 17th couldn't come fast enough. And when it did, Clark was back from her quad injury, fresh off a dominant win over the undefeated New York Liberty, and locked in to face the Connecticut Sun again. It was just her second game back after 3 weeks off, but you could tell she hadn't forgotten a thing. The way she stepped onto the court, the way she stared down the sun during warm-ups. This wasn't just another game, not for her.
She just texts me. She never texts me during the game.
All right.
Here it's Clark, splashing home a 3 from way downtown. Kelly escorting her back to the bench.
JC Sheldon is there on it. With her hand in her face.
The game tips off with that same thick tension hanging in the air. Sheldon's on Clark from the jump, guarding her like everything's on the line, way too close for comfort. She's glued to Clark on every possession, throwing bumps on screens, doing all the little things that turn basketball into a brawl. It's the same reckless intensity that sidelined Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Colson back in May. And everyone in the arena can feel it. Something's coming.
And Caitlin Clark are talking to the official. They're both going at it saying, hey, there's a little extra right there. Uh-oh. And Marina steps in to protect JC.
Third quarter hits, and here comes the moment that flips everything. Clark is bringing the ball up court when Sheldon steps in to defend. She reaches in for what looks like a steal, but her finger goes straight into Clark's eye. The contact is instant and impossible to miss. Clark's head jerks back from the impact. You can see it clear as day.
Third quarter we go. They're trailing by 10. Keep an eye on her and JC Sheldon. Clark trying to back her down.
Here is if Clark is okay.
Sheldon fouls Clark, hitting her in the face. Clark is upset about that. Then everybody's upset about that. Marina Mabry comes in. She decks Clark, tempers flaring on both sides.
Clark instantly grabs her face, pain and fury flashing across her expression as she realizes what just happened. She's squinting, trying to blink it out, but you can tell this is more than just physical. She knows exactly who did it. The same player who took out her teammates is now coming for her, using the same dirty tactics that slipped by the refs last time. So Clark does what any true competitor would. She pushes back, literally shoving Sheldon away after taking a finger to the eye. It's instinct, pure and simple. Anyone would do the same. The crowd explodes because they all saw it. But unbelievably, the refs are about to make things even worse.
Hey. I mean, is that displacement? I think it is.
Oh, and Marina Mabry's going to get ejected. If the officials saw that, Marina Mabry is going to get ejected.
Well, they're going to go and look at it. Look at Mabry. She's got a scar on one side, a scratch on one side of her face, a scratch on the other side. It's not from the game today. I asked her about it. She's always in the mix. There's a lot of contact here. There's a scrape across the face. That's what Clark didn't like.
Clark standing there, clutching her eye, clearly the victim of a dangerous play. Yet the officials reach for their whistles. The arena erupts in confusion and outrage. Fans are pointing to the replay boards, where the eye poke is plain as day, but the refs aren't budging. Instead, they hit Clark with a technical foul for pushing back after getting jabbed in the eye. A technical foul for defending herself. The call makes zero sense to anyone watching. Clark had just dropped 32 points in her first game back from injury, and now she's being punished for reacting to the same player who took out her teammates. The message this sends? That targeting Clark comes without consequence, and if she stands up for herself, she's the one who'll pay the price. But that eye poke? That was just the spark. Because Marina Mabry saw it all go down, and she was about to raise the temperature to a whole new level.
Take another look as we try to figure out what exactly went down. So you see her get hit in the face. JC Sheldon doesn't like that, and everybody on the team doesn't like it. Marina, trying to have her teammates back, pushes her down. You see a little bit of drama all the way around. Tina, Charles, Clark, and Mabry, they received technical fouls. Sheldon received a flagrant 1 foul.
Right after Clark gets slapped with that bogus technical foul, Marina Mabry decides she's done watching and takes matters into her own hands, in the worst way imaginable. Clark is still trying to shake off the eye injury when Mabry storms over and does something that leaves everyone in the arena absolutely stunned.
That's what Clark didn't like. Then Mabry came in with a bump.
And Mabry's day is almost assuredly going to be done. But both teams.
This wasn't basketball contact. This was straight up assault. Mabry body checked Clark like it was a hockey game, not the WNBA, sending her crashing backward to the court. The hit was blatant and completely uncalled for, so obvious that even the most casual fans could see it for what it was. Clark hit the floor hard, stunned, and you could see it in her face. The shock of realizing that yet another Connecticut Sun player had just taken a cheap shot at her.
And then Marina Mabry comes out of nowhere and chucks her to the floor. Now let's watch this in slow motion. Here, JC Sheldon is guarding Caitlin, swipes her in the face. There's one. Going for the ball, swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin's gonna have to start wearing goggles. And then Caitlin pushes her off of her. Like, why are you still in my face? Marina Mabry, bat out of hell, chucks Caitlin Clark to the ground.
The entire Fever bench leaps to their feet because they've just watched their star player get assaulted right in front of the referees. Players are pointing at Mabry, yelling at the officials, pleading for someone in stripes to finally step in and do their job. The crowd is losing it, roaring with disbelief as this unfolds right on their home court. Coach Stephanie White is on the sideline, completely unhinged, screaming at the refs who are somehow still missing what's happening right in front of them. She's waving her arms, pointing straight at Mabry, desperate to make them understand that this has gone way past normal basketball contact. White knows exactly what's happening. Clark just got targeted again, and the officials are about to blow it. Again.
Now, after this, you guys, of course, the referees are going to review the play because that's a lot of contact going on right there. That's a lot of unnecessary contact. That's a lot of non-basketball contact happening during this play, right? So the 3 referees that I like to say, they got them straight out of Sephora because I don't think these referees have ever refereed a professional basketball game in their life. They took these referees, they were at the monitor, they looked at it for, I'm not even exaggerating, you guys, like 15 minutes. 15 minutes they are watching this play over and over.
The refs hand Mabry just a common technical foul, the exact same penalty they gave Clark for simply defending herself after getting poked in the eye. Let that sink in. Clark gets jabbed in the eye and pushes back. Technical foul. Mabry straight up body checks Clark to the floor in retaliation. Also a technical foul. The math doesn't add up, and everyone in the arena knows it.
The announcers here are saying, of course, Marina Mabry is going to get ejected because that was unwarranted. She literally came out of nowhere and chucked Caitlin Clark. There should be a flagrant one, of course, on JC Sheldon because she swiped her and hit her in the eyeball. Whether it is intentional or not, you can still have a flagrant a flagrant foul called on you, whether you are trying to intentionally hurt somebody or not. But this is what they called, you guys. This is what they called. Caitlin Clark, Marina Mabry, Tina Charles were assessed with technical fouls on Tuesday. Caitlin, Marina, and Tina Charles. Technical fouls. That's it. Technical fouls. That's it. And JC Sheldon was assessed with a flagrant 1 foul, and no players were ejected.
White goes off in the post-game press conference. When the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long, this is what happens. She's had it. She's done watching her players get targeted while the refs just stand there and let it slide.
When the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long. All season long. It's not just this game. It's been happening all season long. This is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete. And they're going to have their teammates' backs. It's exactly what you expect, right? Out of fierce competition. So I started talking to the officials in the first quarter. And we knew this was going to happen. You could tell it was going to happen. So they got to get control of it. They got to be better.
The message couldn't be clearer now. The officials weren't going to protect Clark, so her teammates would. Sophie Cunningham had been watching it all unfold from the bench, and she was about to send a message no one would forget. Nobody messes with her teammate. Final minute of the game. Fever's cruising with an 87-70 lead, and JC Sheldon gets the ball one last time. The clock is winding down, but Cunningham isn't thinking about the score anymore. She's thinking about May 30th, when she went down hurt. She's thinking about Clark getting eye-poked with no real punishment. She's thinking about Mabry body-checking her teammate to the floor.
So now let's talk about Sophie Cunningham. At the end of the game, JC Sheldon is going for a fast break layup and Sophie Cunningham is running with her. And I remember in my head, like it happened in a split second and I said, oh, let's see. Let's see what happens here.
Cunningham remembers everything from that brutal May game. Her own injury, sitting on the bench in pain while Sheldon strutted around untouched. She remembers the refs turning a blind eye as her teammates took hit after hit. And now, here's Sheldon, driving to the basket. Cunningham sees her shot, and she's not about to let it pass.
Sophie commits a hard foul on JC Sheldon. Again, as JC Sheldon is going up for a layup, Sophie bear hugs her and takes her to the ground. What I will say is Sophie did not grab her and throw her to the ground. She didn't body slam her. She didn't do anything, in my personal opinion. Maybe I'm biased here, but I'm going to give you guys my straight up honest opinion on this. She bear hugged her, took her to the ground. Yes, it was intentional. It was absolutely intentional.
She lines up Sheldon and delivers the most satisfying, flagrant foul you'll ever witness. Cunningham grabs her hard, wraps her up, and drags her to the floor. This wasn't a basketball play. This was payback. This was justice. This was Sophie Cunningham making it crystal clear. You don't mess with her teammates. The officials hit Cunningham with a flagrant 2, and she's automatically ejected. Sheldon and Lindsay Allen get tossed too for jumping into the fight. 3 players ejected, but the message was delivered. Justice finally hit the court.
It was, to me, payback for what was happening the entire game. But she did it in a way that she wasn't going to injure JC. She was just making it known, like, if the refs aren't going to handle it, I will handle it. We'll take care of it, but this is not what you're going to do when you come into our house. It was an intentional foul. It was a hard foul. She brought her down. But with that, you guys, JC Sheldon got up and she was ready to go. So as you guys can see in this video, a whole scuffle breaks out. Sophie and JC are going after it. Both teams are running over, trying to break it up. It kind of goes into the fan section a little bit.
Clark finishes with 20 points and 6 assists, leading the Fever to an 88-71 win that felt like way more than just a victory. Natasha Howard notches her 50th career double-double with 16 points and 12 rebounds. Kelsey Mitchell chips in 17 points. It was a full team effort, but everyone knows what truly mattered.
A rare miss at the rim for Aaliyah Boston, the league's top field goal percentage shooter in the WNBA, but it's Boston who comes up with the steal and the find to Howard. Clark working on the rookie. Clark on the drive. Hang, shot too strong. There's Howard to clean up.
And Clark working off the ball, comes off the stagger.
Third year in her WNBA in terms of setting up her teammates. Clark behind the back, beat inside. 2 more for Howard.
This wasn't just about beating the Sun. This was the Fever showing they won't be bullied, they won't back down, and they always protect their own. The win sends them to their first ever Commissioner's Cup final, but more importantly, it sends a message to the entire league. If you come after their players, you'd better be ready for the consequences.
The Indiana Fever fans were chanting, Sophie, Sophie. Sophie's jersey is going to sell out tonight. She's going to be in the All-Star game tonight just from this one play because she was standing on business. It wasn't a dirty play. It was an intentional foul and it was meant to send a message. It turned into a scuffle and I don't think anybody wanted that.
The Fever got their revenge after that brutal May 30th loss. Clark got her justice after the eye poke and the body check. Sophie Cunningham became a hero for stepping up when it mattered most. Sometimes, the officials won't protect you, but your teammates will. That's exactly what happened on June 17th, when the Indiana Fever showed the basketball world they're not backing down from anyone.
Oh, and Clark just took it away. It's a 2-on-1. Clark, bounce pass, pretty find, and Mitchell won't miss from there.
This game proved the Indiana Fever aren't just talented. They're a family that fights for each other when it matters most. When the officials won't protect their players, teammates like Sophie Cunningham step up and handle it themselves. That's what real loyalty looks like in professional sports. Now, the Commissioner's Cup final awaits on July 1st against the Minnesota Lynx. And after watching how this team rises through adversity and stands united, 2025 is already looking brighter for Fever fans. Remember this moment the next time someone says loyalty doesn't exist in pro sports, because Sophie Cunningham just proved them wrong. If you ride with the Fever, drop a comment below, like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss a moment.